Brodes Media.
Hey everyone, a few things before I scream for a while because this Phillies baseball team stinks. Follow me on TikTok. We're now live on TikTok. We're putting up TikToks daily at Brodes Media. It's a good time. Just talking, 60 seconds, showing you the man cave, just talking in general about Ben Simmons, the Phillies, Rhys Hoskins. Make sure you follow me on TikTok. On my Twitter, at Brodes81. At the top of my profile, there is a Brodes Media giveaway that we are running. This week, we have a chance to win a Phillies t-shirt, the 47 brand, maroon, vintage tee. It's really awesome. All you have to do is retweet the tweet. And then last year, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button to join the party. We talk about Philadelphia sports, sadly, every day on this channel. And I say sadly because it's not a good time. Not at this very moment. Thank you all so much and enjoy the show. This is borderline insane. It really is. I mean, we have reached the territory of fucking sickening when it comes to this Phillies organization as they get blown out in Cincinnati. What was the final score? 12-4? I mean, it was a flat-out disgrace. And we can begin with the starting pitcher in Spencer Howard. What is this organization doing? What is the message? What are they trying to do? He pitched 2 1/3 innings. He had 40 pitches total, allowed 4 hits, 2 earned runs. What are you trying to do? You're not even allowing him to go out there and fully pitch. You have him on this stupid pitch count. You had, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank here. Ben Davis. Ben Davis on the postgame show asking the question, are they trying to use an opener like the Tampa Bay Rays do? In what universe are the Phillies in a position to think they are so smart to now utilize an opener, especially when you don't have a bullpen? You know what the Rays are so good at? We saw it last year. Now, eventually, I will admit, their bullpen eventually did run out of gas, and maybe there's a correlation with how heavily they utilized their bullpen throughout 162, but with Nick Anderson and Yarborough and the way that they use all of their guys, you know, they have this core of a starter and then a back end of the bullpen, and they just had their guys bang, 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 and it all worked. But here we are utilizing pitchers that haven't pitched in how many years in Major League Baseball in a high leverage situation where he's hitting batters and allowing bombs, grand slams. Nick Castellanos, by the way, had 7 RBIs in this game. I mean, that's insane. It's literally insane. The game just blew up after the Phillies actually took a 4-2 lead. They had a chance. They did in that 5th inning to tack on more runs. Andrew Knapp, though, he struck out swinging, and, well, they had a chance to maybe score some more insurance runs. And to be honest with you, in inning 1, Odubel Herrera over at third base having a good time, talking it up, chatting it up with Suarez, and he's not paying attention. He gets thrown out at home because of a horrendous jump. He should have never went. He should have stayed put. And was there some miscommunication between him and Dusty? Were they just not on the same page? Was he not effectively mentally ready to compete in that moment because he's too busy having some casual conversation with the opposing team at third base? I mean, it's crazy what we're seeing. This franchise is embarrassing, and I feel we are going to be stuck with this forever. Now, occasionally, you'll have something like the 93 Phillies or the 08 Phillies, but 99.9% of the time, we are going to get drilled with this style of baseball. Hey, Reese, I got a question for you, Reese. After your 0 for 5 day with 3 strikeouts swinging, should I look at that as a positive? Should I try and sit here and analyze how this team does so many great things after they get their asses kicked 12-4 in such an ugly way? Let's see. What can I talk about that's nice? Oh, Nick Middleton. You threw some nice pitches. Is that where we're at? Where the positive Reese should be written about Nick Middleton throwing pitches? What are we doing here? Joe looking like he's never managed baseball in his entire life. And if you remember, I started out the year trying to calm everybody down on Joe because, well, you know, the team was trying to form its identity, and you got to try players in certain roles, and you need to figure things out. You don't know who can excel in the 7th inning until you put guys in the 7th inning. You don't know who's going to be an 8th inning guy until you put guys in the 8th inning. So early on, when he's trying things, it's okay to work around your roster to see how everything is going to mold. But at this point, throwing in a dude in a high-leverage situation where he had Connor Brogdon available. Now, one thing that does disturb me, and this is not hypocritical because the Tampa Bay Rays are a different team and they properly use their bullpen. You think that maybe they did overextend it throughout the 162, which costed them. The Phillies are not in the same scenario as getting to the World Series, so there's no way that this is relatable at all, what I'm about to say, and there's no way that it's hypocritical. But one of the things that pissed me off with the Phillies is how many games are guys not available? I can't use this guy, I can't use that guy, I can't use this guy. And now it's different because this team stinks. This team sucks. They're under 500. They're trying to battle it out with the Miami Marlins, for God's sake, to not be last in the entire division right now. So you're not in a position to, well, I really want to make sure our guys are ready for postseason baseball. What are you saving these guys for? Fucking pitch them! Archie Bradley wasn't available. There's plenty other guys. Now, was Hector Neris available? Yeah, and he probably would have blew it too. He probably would have blew any lead, and we would have been disgusted with Joe Girardi going to Hector Neris as well. So that's pretty inevitable. Let's be realistic with ourselves. If we put in Hector, we probably would have freaked out. With that said, Connor Brogdon, when you look at the list and hear him speak after the game and talk about, well, I did have Connor, maybe I could have went to him. Connor Brogdon, dude, I mean, it's not even an option to go to a gentleman who has not pitched in Major League Baseball in so many damn years. I mean, it's actually asinine. I feel like he's losing brain cells wearing that Philadelphia Phillies uniform. I know I lose brain cells watching the damn baseball team, so I can only imagine what it's like actually being in the dugout and witnessing it firsthand while you're in the clubhouse and surrounded by that team. I've been saying this for weeks now. Joe Girardi sounds like he's defeated. He looks like he's defeated when he's getting asked questions by the media instead of really being supportive to his team, and he's really supporting his decisions and backing up guys. He's basically admitting now, I probably could have done this. I should have done that. I could have went in this direction. Well, yeah, I mean, at this point, it's pretty obvious, Joe. You're making basic mistakes, and you're not thinking thoroughly enough. And if you can't think on your feet as a manager, but it's just wild, right? Because this guy is a winner. This guy has won, and I don't want to hear it that Joe Girardi didn't do anything and all he did was sit there for a Yankees team. Well, I'm somebody who clearly claims that managers get too much blame and get too much love when things go right and wrong, which is very true. His track record of being a player in this league and managing in this league is so large, and he's had so much success. For him to look like he has never seen the sport, it's almost as if I went to Australia and watched Australian football, I would have zero knowledge of what I'm witnessing. I'd have zero knowledge of the proper moves, when you should substitute players in, what plays you should call, this and that. That's how it is with Joe Girardi, and he's been around the game too long for it to be this out there and this wild. Look, Reese, I'll give you a positive. Today, you want a positive, Reese? I'll give you a positive. I guess I can kind of think it too, which is sad because I'm falling for his trap. But I talk about what I want to talk about. I'd be talking about this too if it wasn't for Reese Hoskins. I'll point out that Alec Boehm had a couple RBIs and he had a couple hits, and hopefully the power's in there somewhere. If Alec Boehm becomes just this, I'd be very disappointed because you need more pop from the dude. You need more power out of the bat. Now, I literally see some people discussing, at least it was a line drive, a couple line drives. In previous outings, you might have seen those been ground balls. At least they're in the air. Maybe we're getting somewhere. The fact that that's what we're discussing now is somewhat sad with Alec Boehm, but I can't deny that that's where we are. It is what it is. We are now witnessing Alec Boehm lift the ball up the air just a little tiny bit, and now we're throwing a parade for Alec Boehm. But he was my positive, and also Falter. He went in there for 4 innings, 6 Ks, 1 earned run. He threw about 66 pitches. I probably would have kept rocking. But here's Joe after the game talking about how I didn't feel comfortable. We felt it was right to shut him down. Shut all these pitchers down, Joe. Let's make sure we don't have anyone as an option ever and start throwing guys that haven't been in the league in 3,000 years. When am I going to get my damn phone call, Joe? Because I'm waiting. My phone's right here. You can even call the Anytime hotline if you like. You can leave a message. I'll get back to you when I get a chance, but I'll let you know if my arm feels okay. And I also, to some degree, I look at these bullpen pieces and you're going to allow for this to happen? Now, I get it. You can't overwork them to death. I'm not claiming that. But they're clearly taking the super soft side, the Charmin soft side of this where it's too much. It's too much. And you would think that there'd be someone in that damn bullpen that says, Joe, give me the fucking baseball. I'm done with this shit. Give me the ball. I'm going out there. I'm going to pitch. But I do know that there's analytics and there's data that says they're throwing this amount in this amount of days. It's not great, but protection. Protection for what? Losing baseball? And I'm not asking to put these guys in life and death situations. I'm not asking them to just throw their body out on the line and never take care of their body whatsoever. But we can talk about a middle ground. We can discuss how, come on, you gotta think that these players are more willing and need to be more willing. And the manager and the organization has to be more willing because there's a reason why this franchise loses. There's a reason why this franchise continues to be a losing franchise. And that's because of, how they're handling things internally. Obviously, there's a correlation here. Now, there was some news, not in Philadelphia, about Philadelphia recently, and it was Nick Pivetta. And I'm paraphrasing, but Nick Pivetta, who's having a nice season in Boston, claimed that the Boston Red Sox, they have a winning culture. The difference is they know how to win in Boston and all. And I know that there's a lot of people jumping on that quote going, well, see, Nick Pivetta is not wrong, right? Nick Pivetta is not wrong. Here's what I will say about Nick Pivetta, though. You had plenty of seasons here. And no matter what is going on with the team, this and that's irrelevant to you being on the mound. When you're on the mound going up against that hitter, going up against that batter, what's going on in the clubhouse with the everyday guys, that's irrelevant to your production. You sucked here because you sucked here. You were garbage here because you were garbage here. Now, I'm not going to claim that this franchise was in the perfect spot in the world, but when you're on the mound and when you're looking at the opposing team, you can control that. No matter what's going on, no matter who's out there, no matter what it is. And there wasn't the greatest defense in the world. You still had Rhys Hoskins over at first base, and you had issues behind you that maybe you weren't the most confident in your defense. That still, though, as a competitor, as a pitcher, Nick, you had years and years and years and start after start after start, and you sucked. You sucked in this uniform, and you would bitch, and you would complain, and you'd pout, and you look like a crybaby. So while things are working out for you in Boston, and I can't rule out that, Gabe Kapler seems to be fine when he leaves here. Carlos Santana became an all-star when he left Philadelphia. Nick Pivetta is having some version of success with the Boston Red Sox. So all of this is true. Also, though, come on. We're going to now talk about Nick Pivetta as if he didn't control his destiny here, and he was the one he was on the mound. He was the one throwing the pitches. It wasn't anybody else. So, come on now. Bryce Harper played. Is that a positive? Bryce Harper playing? He took the day off. He took the game off, actually. Was that the last game? Yeah, it was. Actually, he didn't take the day off. This is the following day. I'm losing track of days. This Phillies team makes me lose my damn mind. He left that game, though, in right field, and we were wondering, is he going to be out the following day? Is he going to have an off day? Is he going to try and, work something out with whatever happened to him? And he ends up playing. So what upsets me is now you have Bryce Harper, who's pulling himself out of a game against the New York Mets, your division leader. It's a very close game at the time, and he decides, I'm not going to play. But then he plays the next day. It would make more sense to fight it out through that game against the Mets and then take off against the Cincinnati Reds because there'd be swelling, because maybe there'd be some discomfort. Maybe you talk about black and blue and you'd be in pain and there's no way you can work on it. But you would think in that Mets game, you should be able to fight through that, especially if you're playing the next day. So now I'm starting to question Bryce Harper and how he's electing to do this. Your leader on the field, and I'm sure he's got some voice in the clubhouse. I don't think it's as big as I would have anticipated prior to him signing here. But with Bryce Harper, there's this element of it where he's a workhorse. He's always grinding. He's giving maximum effort every time he's on the diamond, and you basically see that, right? No one's questioning the determination level of Bryce Harper and the way that he approaches the game. But you would think in that moment, him staying out there and fighting for his club, the guys would realize that. All right, Bryce is sticking out here. He knows how important this win is. But instead, he taps out. No, I can't do that. What type of culture is that setting from your $330 million man? I think that is a very fair question to ask because it wasn't significant enough to keep him out of the next day. So if it's not keeping you out of the next day, it wasn't that bad in the moment. And maybe it hurts. But really, we're talking about being hurt and being a little dinged up when you're how many games under 500? What are you going to do? Bryce, you mentioned us being able to 9 out of 10. We gotta rally off 9 out of 10. Well, you got to be out there, dude. You got to be out there. JT having an off day and Andrew Knapp playing. I mean, it's crazy to me when you look at the bottom of this lineup. Alec Boehm, who isn't really a bottom of the lineup guy, so that's not fair to say. But I'm just talking about like Ronald Torreyes. You look at the scoreboard today and the box score, and you look at the guys who knocked in runs. Alec Boehm, okay. But Ronald Torreyes, how many times are we looking at a game sheet afterwards and watching the game? And this is not even something that you just see after the game, but when you watch the game, Nick Maton getting you the big hit against DeGrom. Nick Maton giving you an RBI. Ronald Torreyes knocking in runs. Really? We're a baseball team that's watching Torreyes be the guy to knock in your runs for you. Good for him, and he's done a good job riding out this Didi Gregorius injury. But really, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. You want another positive? Luke Williams ran hard to second base and beat out a play, which helped score a run. All these positives, Reese. Don't question me, damn it. Don't question me. I'm here. I'm Mr. Positivity. That's what I do. Brodes Media, Sports Talk with Brodes, Coffee with Brodes. We're positive 24/7. I don't yell out of frustration. I don't get bothered or upset. I don't lose sleep over the teams here in Philadelphia. No, of course not. I'm all positive. Falter, 4 innings. It's sad. It's sad. And I've said this a bunch of times now, and yet I still continue to rant as much as I do. But we're 70? What is their actual record? Is it 74 games into the season at this point? Where do they fall? Let's go to the MLB standings. Let's take a look at the National League, shall we? The Phillies are 36-40, so they're 4 games under 500. They're 76 games into the season. I don't know how much longer I can do it because this is who they are. There's no way that they're changing. How are they going to change 76 games into the season? Do you want to use the Washington Nationals as an example? All right, Kyle Schwarber has hit 15 home runs so far in the month of June. It has been incredible. The Nationals are a way closer unit than the Phillies. It doesn't seem like anyone really likes each other on this team. There's no brotherhood. There's no I got your back. There's no family. Everyone seems to have their backs turned against them, almost as if when they leave the clubhouse, they go home to their wives or their significant other and they just start complaining about what this person did and what that person did. And it doesn't seem like they love one another. When I watch the Nationals play, while they've had their ugly moments this season, they did go through a championship run. There's a portion of those players on that roster that went out and did that championship run, so they have that love for one another. And now they're in second place. They're 38-38. They're over the Braves, who are struggling at 37-40. They're just a bad baseball team as well, which is just wild to see. But man, I'll tell you what, they're 7-3 in their last 10, while the Phillies are 3-7 in their last 10, and Kyle Schwarber is really helping them out. At one point I tweeted out a video of his 14th homer, Kyle Schwarber, this month, and I was like, whoa, Kyle Schwarber. You can't make this stuff up. As I'm tweeting that out, here goes the next one, 15th. He might even had another one. I don't even know. I only saw 2 today. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a third one in there at some point as they won 8-4 against the New York Mets, who's leading the division. Let's see. The National, Schwarber. He had 3 hits, 2 RBI, 2 runs. Okay, so he only had the 2. Only had the 2 while Rhys Hoskins is giving you what type of production? Oh, I'm sorry, what? You went 0 for 5 and you had 3 strikeouts swinging? Stop it. There were some embarrassing plays in the field once again. De Los Santos got shelled. Poor throws, though, around the diamond. Where's the ball going when you're trying to throw it back to first base? Runs are being scored. And then you just, you bend over at the end of it. That's what happened. You bend over and you get your ass handed to you. You get your ass smacked by a Cincinnati Reds team. You knew from the pitching matchup, when Spencer Howard's on the mound, you know it's going to be an abysmal time because you're going to have to dive deep into your bullpen. And this bullpen is on pace to break records here for the Phillies when it comes to blowing saves. And it wasn't this way all season long. It was never to this territory. But as of late, they fell right back into last year. That's what it feels like every time somebody takes the mound. This is going to end poorly. This is going to be something that gets ugly. You're going to hit a batter. You're going to walk guys. You're going to give up that timely hit. There's going to be a home run. That Castellanos stinger was fucking insane. You knew instantly as soon as it hit the bat, here we go. Here we go. And by the time it ends, it's 12-4. You let them take your soul. That's what it is. Sometimes when a team gets crushed so badly, you see them feel murdered inside, and it's vibing. Their body language is basically telling you that they are crushed and there's no bouncing back and this game is over. If Nick Maton pitching wasn't enough, you could see it in their body language, in their facial expressions. This team knows that they're not good. And once you commit to knowing that, well, it's all she wrote. It's all she wrote. No matter what Rhys Hoskins wants to tell you after the game, this team's a good team. No, it's not, Rhys. You're lying. You're absolutely lying. And there's actually a lot of Rhys defenders. You're taking this out of context. You're being too ridiculous here. If you listen to the full quote, I listened to the full quote. It doesn't matter. You can't be more out of touch. Rhys, your team stinks. You're a big reason why this team stinks. Someone tried telling me on Twitter today that without his offense, this team would be 5 billion times worse. And there's something to be said about the way that he does hit when he is on a hot streak. When Rhys gets going offensively, he is lethal. I don't think anybody's making that argument. But you look at how the defense correlates with the offense. It doesn't outweigh. The defense is so poor. It's so egregious. It's so awful. It costs you so many games that while his offense is what it is, I mean, let's not act like it is perfect. It's not perfect. He goes through 0 for 30 stretches just as much. So that is bad. That can't be acceptable. That is way too ugly. So that's a part of this too. The bad of Rhys Hoskins does not outweigh the greatness of Rhys Hoskins when he is in pure form hitting the baseball. Long term, over 162. I mentioned you maybe could live with it more if you didn't have one of the worst defenders in baseball at third base, which is true, but doesn't take away from Rhys Hoskins and what he said. What he said was out of touch. He clearly is not connected with the fan base properly. And whether you can look at it one of two ways. Does he need to be, or does he need to focus on baseball games? Fair, but the thing is, well, he's not focused good enough. He's not accomplishing the goal well enough because they're fighting for the Marlins for last place in the NL East. Can't happen. The Braves are having a historic bad season for themselves. You're still underneath them. Think about how much they're underachieving, that Braves team, right? No one would have thought in a billion years. Now, there's unfortunate news, it seems, every single damn day for the Braves with all these injuries. And, I mean, you're talking about just unfortunate after unfortunate situation for them health-wise. And as weird and crazy as the Braves season has gone, you're still worse than the Braves. What does that tell you, Rhys? Oh, talk about the positives. I can't. I lose sleep thinking about Rhys Hoskins saying that. It's a total joke. What's not a joke? DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook is not only my favorite sportsbook, but also America's top-rated sportsbook. I love using DraftKings Sportsbook. It's easy to navigate. It has plenty of instructions for new bettors and nearly limitless ways to get in on all the action. My friends and family have been loving DraftKings Sportsbook, and I know you will too. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use promo code Brodes when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free credits. Bet on any basketball team of your choice to win their next game, and if they do, you will claim $100 in free credits. That's promo code Brodes for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Wager paid out in site credits. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's throw it on over to the Anytime Hotline. Let's hear the reactions after tonight.
What's up, Brodes? It's currently 8-4 in this Phillies-Reds game right now, and it really seems like this team is never going to be good again. Unless John Middleton sells the team. Players, managers have come and gone over the years, but the one constant in this organization has been John Middleton. And in my opinion, he needs to fuck off and sell the team to someone who cares about winning baseball. And the Wilpons sold the Mets, and look at the Mets right now. Sure, they're not amazing, but hey, they're the division leaders right now, and they seem to be heading in a much better direction as an organization.
Well, the problem here is you're not wrong at all. But the problem is you can't force owners out. As much as you want to say you can, don't show up to the game, this and that, you're not going to force the owner out. He's making billions and billions of dollars. He's a very rich individual, and he's been owner of this organization for a bit of time now where you're not running him out of town because you're upset about the team. It goes back to the same Eagles conversations we have all the time. Well, we need change. We have to demand Jeffrey Lurie to do this, and we got to get Howie Roseman out. Well, we won't show up to the games. Okay, people are going to show up to the games. And while 15,000 isn't aggressive and it's not really that much in the grand scheme of things when it's the Citizens Bank Park on Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, and I'm sure John Middleton is not happy about it, that's still not going to be enough to get John Middleton to sell this baseball team. So you're stuck with him. That's just reality of the situation. He's not going to walk away and go, this Phillies organization hasn't won with me. It's not been what I expected it to be after saying, I want my damn trophy back. I was willing to spend. Don't you realize, John, that you're willing to spend? And I'll give you credit. You're spending. And I wouldn't go over the luxury tax to be this bad too, and that would be the case. So I don't blame you for not going over the luxury tax. You're spending money, but don't you see that it's not about spending money? There's way more to baseball. Having the right analytical department, having the right president of baseball operations in place, not going through the Matt Klentak era because it clearly set you back for quite some time and you were so bullish on it and you were so all in on it. You got to do more. How about the prospects? I mean, don't you see this stuff that it is not winning baseball? How do you not see this? How do you constantly go through the same motions? How do you not accept change? And I'm not saying run yourself out of town because that's not realistic, but making serious franchise-changing moves that would legitimately change the face of where this franchise is right now. And it's like he's unacceptable, or he's unaccepting of doing it. He won't accept it. And if that's how it's going to be, well, guess what? We got a long, long summer, and we're going to have a lot of long summers because this won't be going anywhere. So I don't know what to tell you because you can't. It's not something that you can force, unfortunately.
At this point, we should have just kept Gabe Kapler. They knew Matt Klentak was right about him. Because while Girardi ain't terrible, keeping Kapler would have been an upgrade over pulling Falter.
I don't know if Gabe Kapler now is automatically going to step in. Because I'll go back to the Nick Pivetta reference, right? Gabe Kapler sucked. When Gabe Kapler was here, he was not managing perfectly. He was making just as dumb decisions as Joe Girardi is making. He didn't warm up players in the bullpen and then put them into the game. He did not have guys ready in that aspect. I mean, let's not act as if you had Gabe Kapler perfectly executing managerial decisions. He was awful here. Now, one of the reasons why might have been Well, something is just in the water when it comes to something in the Philadelphia Phillies clubhouse, because you could trot anybody out there and they fall apart completely and they don't understand baseball and they can't execute. So there is something in the Phillies pinstripes right now that is on the table. But the team wasn't right. So when he was making moves, he didn't have a bunch of options. Even though there were not all the right options there were still boneheaded, non-baseball decisions happening under Gabe Kapler. The culture, you're talking about guys smashing TVs in the clubhouse. There were a lot of issues with Gabe Kapler here during his time. So it goes back to he wasn't good. He was not a good manager here in Philadelphia. He wasn't. So just because things are working out well in San Francisco, way better team, way better ran organization. Guys are really stepping up. Pitchers are pitching very well, producing runs when needed. Guys are playing their roles. You know, there's a lot in play with why Gabe's having success. But, I mean, it goes back to just because he's doing it there, why would that automatically mean that Gabe Kapler would do great here? He didn't do great here. He had plenty of times to make the right decisions, not look like a screwball, and, well, he made decisions that don't make sense to little league managers. So,
you know, I thought I wanted De Los Santos to get hit in the head with a fucking... You know, I'm not going to say something like that. I'm not that bad of a human being, but you get my point.
I don't know if you wanted to go that far, huh? Maybe you wanted to calm down a little bit. I get the frustration. Nobody wants to get hit in the head, though. Let's tone it down. As much as I love to scream and yell and sit here to allow my blood to boil over and over again, thinking about where this franchise leaves me emotionally, we don't want anybody to get injured or get hit in the head or get smacked with a baseball. So we did go a little overboard there. But if we take a step back, I think we get it. We're annoyed, we're bothered, and this is it. This is Phillies baseball in 2021. So know that because it's serious. This is real. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. See you guys next time.